humanity. It's serving humanity with hope, which has been the theme of this Rotary year. And the idea that we can actually create organizations and enterprises where there's a degree of authentic harmony, especially between men and women. Because in terms of the new world that we want to create, I do believe that we have a lot more that we can actually achieve when we do it together. My screen's just frozen. Okay, where is that? There. So what I want to think about is entrepreneurial education for an authentic harmony future, bringing hope to the world. How can we change the way we do things in order to get rid of conflicts, get rid of marginalization, get rid of inequalities? How can we use everything that we have in our world to really serve the world? And that's really what I want to talk about today is how can we change what has been? And Buckminster Fuller said this, we never change something by fighting the existing reality. Saying change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So I do want to suggest that we do things differently because as a woman, especially who's studied how women work around the world, there's a lot of talent that we're not using and not serving. So I'm going to take through a few steps. These are the steps of what I believe entrepreneurs and all of us look at when we take a look at life. Do we have a vision? Do we have a vision for a world that's full of hope, where we maximize all of our natural talents? I'm very, very aware that a lot of people are mentally stressed at the moment. They feel that they're marginalized, men and women alike, different parts of society. But actually, if we have a belief that we can do something different, and that's what I love about Rotary. I think there's a strong energy around the world that believes we can serve. But I want to know how we can actually do things different and better by using our natural skills. Because our purpose is not, may I add, not just to have a happy life. A happy life is good, but to have a fulfilled life, a life that is doing what we do best individually and together. Do we really know our natural gifts? Do we look at entrepreneurs and say, oh, no, I can't be one of those? Or do we look as an entrepreneur and say, why is everybody not being like me? So I think we need to know that when we have an idea and we bring entrepreneurship to life within the context of Rotary or in any local context or in our own life, yes, we've all got ideas, and some of them may become a business, may become an enterprise, or it might be an idea you take to somebody else. But we need passion. We need passion and purpose to come together if we're actually going to add value. So for me, Entreprenology, which I will explain as we go forward, is the idea of creating value. So I'm going to focus on entrepreneurship and Entreprenology as who are the bosses, who are the employers, who are we as individuals creating a life in the world, maybe through a business, maybe through a business with other people, maybe as part of a business. But indeed, we can create value when we know ourselves. So value creation is an important part of this new education formula that I'm going to present to you. And so it really is important to know who you are. So you, each one of you, are the CEO of your own life. You're the boss. You're in charge of your own life. Now, you might work with other people. You might not be the boss of an enterprise, but you're the choice boss of your own life. And the results come from what you do. So we're going to focus on what is the difference between the employee and the employer, because that's a major difference when we look at where we're going. So the main mantra for my education is we're going to combine knowledge, experience, and imagination. So I really want you to hold on to those three things and apply it to what you do and what you do in your Rotary, what you do in your business. What's your knowledge? What have you learned? What did you get from your schooling, career, your university, whatever it was? I've been around a long time. My university was many decades ago. What I've learned in life is my experience. So my experience is my everyday experience. when things go wrong, when things go right, when people get annoying, when I can't find the things I want, all those experiences, failures and non-failures, positives and negatives, that's all the most important things for an entrepreneur. But the most important thing for an entreprenologist is imagination, because your imagination, apart from anything else, is free. It's what makes the Steve Jobs the most, one of the greatest entrepreneurs. Sir Richard Branson, my favorite. People who, in your own world, have done things extraordinary is you've used their imagination. And Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, imagination encircles the world. I want you to think about that, because how often in every day do you step outside of your knowledge base and really focus on your imagination? Now, this is us in Malaysia. We spent 4 years in Malaysia. This is my husband sitting next to me with the white beard, not glasses. That's Dr. Jim, who is the president of the International University of Entreprenology. His father was the founder. And these are all our main students there. Now, the main thing I want you to get is that what we're talking about with education and entrepreneurship and entreprenology is the employer mindset. Entrepreneurs are very important, but for me, they are owner-managers of a small business. The entreprenologist grows a large business from small beginnings. Now, we don't all have to be entreprenologists, but this is the difference that we're looking at. We're looking at how do we leverage a higher level. And why is that important? Because the entreprenologists are going to grow larger businesses and employ lots of people. And they're going to employ lots of people and change the economic landscape. So it's wonderful that we have hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, millions and millions of entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs of small businesses. When I was in Kuala Lumpur for 4 years, we worked with many, many female entrepreneurs and small businesses. And that's great, but all of them wanted something bigger. And it's actually the ability to employ other people that will bring hope in the world. So I want you to think about how that comes together with the idea of building an authentic harmony enterprise. So these are businesses where people want to work, they want to be there. That for me, being an entrepreneur is not just a one-way street, it's what do you deliver to other people? And this is why I think Rotary International and Rotary clubs can think about, yes, service above self, but how do we serve other people by making enterprises harmonious places to be? Now, I've written a book called The Power of Authentic Harmony. And for me, and this is maybe my female gender looking at the world through a nurturing lens, but I want to make sure that as well as creating a business as an entrepreneur, I serve the people who work with me. So again, you're the boss of your own business. You're the entrepreneur, you're the entreprenologist. You're working with people and you're gaining results through people. And this is because you really charge up your leadership style with imagination and also learning from your experiences. So no longer is it the old traditional way of my way or the highway. No, it's I'm the owner of this business. How do I create employee energy performance? And this has been my passion all my life when I developed corporate heart in England and now in America. Corporate heart means there's a heart to business. And also it makes money. I was just reading a report today about the mental health issues across the world. It was a European Parliament report, but it was saying that there are only a handful of companies that really resoundingly make sure that their employees are not suffering mental health. And most of those companies were in America. Now, that was a European report. Hopefully there are companies in your region of the world where they treat people really well. So for me, this is where education, entrepreneurship, and entreprenology come together with authentic harmony. And my favorite entreprenologist is Sir Richard Branson. He is renowned to being very caring of his employees. He says a company is people. Employees want to know, am I being listened to, or am I just a cog in the wheel? People really need to be wanted. This is totally my belief, because if we have enterprise which is expanding and is only profit motivated, then we're not doing service to the world. So as Rotarians, I think it's really important that we understand the mix of what's going on in the business world and what's going on in life. What are the causes of damage in life that are created by restrictive practices? Service above self, serve people, your employees and customers are happy. Now, I want you to challenge yourself as to how often does that truly happen? Sometimes entrepreneurs can be selfish. Sometimes we can be egocentric because we have an idea and we want to get it out there in the world. So I think it's very important that we look at what we truly mean by creating hope in the world. It's not all separated. Traditionally, men have made business, made money, and then come home and treated the family as a provider. Now today, women are very much part of everything. And I think it's really important that we understand this is not just about fighting for equality. It's about creating harmony. And this is different. And if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. This is Simon Sinek. So for me, you don't understand the nature of true entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, if you don't understand the people. Another great entreprenologist, Jack Ma, who created Alibaba, he said he had the idea. He said, I then employed people who were much brighter than me to make it work. And that's a sign of an entreprenologist. You don't do a selfish pursuit in just to make money. So the power of authentic harmony is core to my pitch today, if you like, because I think it's all about our attitude. And being Rotarians, we care about people. We want to know what they're, but instead of always creating something and then giving it to people who are less able to do things, which is good. We do need to do that. We want to solve polio. We want to solve poverty. We want to help people in need. But we also want to encourage people to come together and be inspired to be in an entrepreneurial enterprise, which is welcoming them. So an entrepreneurial mindset, remember, it's knowledge, experience, and imagination. I want you to really think about those three things. This is a really important part of business. So let me just share a few slides here. Everybody knows there are businesses everywhere. You have them in your region, in Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. I met so many people creating small businesses on the street, in the factories. You have that in Indonesia and in India, in Africa, everywhere. People want to create their identity through what they do. And it could be selling clothes, it could be cooking, it could be all sorts of different things. Now, the famous ones we know are people like Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, Elon Musk. These are major, major characters in the world who have changed the way the world is. Interesting enough, I don't know that there's any one woman who's done as significant as these three people, but there you go. Here's a little story for you, which I'd like to share with you. This young boy in Sierra Leone, I think, at the age of 10, he decided to collect scrap metal, discarded devices and rubbish to create an intermittent electricity supply blackout. His grandmother wanted something to help her live a comfortable life. So he created this item. He made this, and at the age of 13, he was making them for everybody in the village. He's now age 26, he runs his own business, and he's backed by MIT. Now, he was helped by a TikTok video because something went well and it went out virally. So we now have lots of techniques and systems to be able to create business. But I love this story because it shows you anybody without an academic schooling can be very successful. Now, that's not possible for everybody, but I think these stories are all around you. And I really suggest that you welcome those and find them, because the young kids today, everywhere in the world, these kids of young generations, under 10, under 20, under 30, these kids have multiple ideas. They may not necessarily need traditional education to create the enterprise that they will be able to use. And our university is really looking at ways that we can support young kids, because Steve Jobs, the ones who are the crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. And I believe that in the future, with AI, with changes, digital changes, technology changes, we work with a school in Kuala Lumpur who have kids from the age of 4 to 16, and we work with them in entrepreneurial principles. Every lesson is created by the kids. The teachers are not called teachers, they're called coaches, and there's an interaction which enables the children to be using their imagination. By the time these children are 10 and they start the traditional curriculum of science and languages, etc., they are so adept at learning, they learn faster. By the time they're 14, they're wanting to create their own businesses. We can scale this. This can be the way we change education. It's not removing the traditional subjects, but it's about teaching these things in a different way. Children use their imagination and they will learn through their natural gifts. And this is what we can all do. And we can start at any age. I think it's really important that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And this is where it's very important to recognize the value of women. And I was in Kuala Lumpur, I worked with both professional women in the ministries and also entrepreneurial women, and they were phenomenal. Every woman that I saw create a small business on the street wanted to build a foundation. And I would say to them, how come you want to build a foundation when you don't even have a baseline funding? Well, I want to change the world because I don't want other women to have to go through what I've been through. I'm just laying that out to you guys. It's just a phenomenal piece of the world that we are missing. Half of the world is female, and yet women are marginalized in terms of funding for their own enterprises. I'm not going to go into that detail, but you know it's a fact. And I'm going to recommend, I'll send it to you, Andy, but I want you to recommend that you read this book. It's called Invisible Women. It's a data-driven book. It's very large. I haven't read it all, but it's a data-driven book. And it says it's a data bias in a world designed for men. Now, this is not critiquing men, so don't get me wrong, but there are issues that we need to face by starting again. And for me, that's using our imagination as entrepreneurs, entreprenologists. So let's just think other cases. Now, a famous one that you all know, I'm sure, KFC, he started very late in life. People probably thought he was mad, that he would never do what he was going to do, but he did. He saw an opportunity. So seeing opportunities and not critiquing somebody. So whenever you get somebody in the club who says, why don't we do this? Because blah, 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 and you go, no, that's not possible. Stop and think, is this an opportunity? I'm very much in favor of conversations without judgment. They don't judge any idea, but listen to it. Uncertainty is a blank canvas. Change is constant. Change is so rapid today. It's unbelievable. AI, ChatGPT, TikTok, things that I would never have imagined would have existed in my life. I remember the day when the telephone was attached to the wall by a wire and you couldn't walk around with anything. And fear is an option. We can get very afraid of the world at the moment, but if we see it as exciting. This is one of my favorite female entreprenologists. I don't know whether you know this lady. Her name is Sarah Blakely. She's American. She created a company called Spanx, which is about garments for women. But the thing I think is good about her, she had $5,000 of her own money that she started her business with. She never went outside of that for funding. She made it work, and now she's a billionaire. She sold out her company for billions to BlackRock. So what's my story? Here I am on the stage in India. I was living in Malaysia at the time, and I went to India to the Women Economic Forum to talk about what I believe in. And this is one of my ministry groups in Malaysia and in London in 2016. And then, of course, on Zoom, where I've done a lot of work with men and women across the world. And I've also designed a way of understanding men and women. So there are different archetypes that I use in order to understand how we can talk to each other better. And I'm running some sessions for men and for women over the next 3 Saturdays. I'm hoping Andy's going to make it to my event on Saturday. But you're very welcome on Saturday. We're just going to gather men together to look at how do we see the world as men? How do we see the world as women? How do we see it together? And in my book, The Power of Authentic Harmony, I've actually written it in French as well. Now, the reason this is a very important factor is I don't speak French. And I would like to have this in very many languages, in your language, across the world, because harmony across borders is about interpretation. So I had a very beautiful colleague who's French from Benin, and she's interpreted this. And the conversation was fascinating because she would say to me, so what does this mean? It's not just changing the words, it's interpreting each other. And in my experience, we don't understand each other, men and women. We don't understand entrepreneurship always. And one of the things about entrepreneurship is we need employers and employees. When I ran a program in Malaysia for 6 months, it was a major entrepreneurial program. When I got to the end, one of the candidates came up to me and said, "Oh, this has been the most wonderful program, Dr. Pauline." And I was very excited. And then she said, "Because I know I'm not an entrepreneur." And I said, "Oh," she said, "Yeah, it's a great program. I'm so pleased I've been here because my mother kept on pushing me to be an entrepreneur, and I don't want to be. She's an entrepreneur. I want to work with her as an employee. I love the mindset, but I don't want to go into the additional risk and what I would have to do to run my own business." It was a great learning point for me because it's very important to understand everybody has their place in the system of business and life. And it's okay to be a fantastic employee. It's not good to be a miserable employee or a miserable boss or a miserable Rotarian. So it's very important that an entrepreneur isn't somebody who owns a business, somebody who makes things happen. And some people like to do the task that the entrepreneur sets out. So the moment you accept responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you gain the power to change everything in your life. And in our university, we have a lot of principles and lots of things. I'm just going to share 4 of them. The entrepreneur chooses to be uncommon. The entreprenologist says it's his right to be creative and innovative, to seek and embrace opportunity rather than settle for security. I would risk to dream, I will act to build. This is the mindset of the entreprenologist, and it doesn't need to be for everybody. So I want you to examine in your own clubs, in your own communities, who are the entrepreneurs, entreprenologists, who are the employees, who are the social goodwill people. That's okay. And to really acknowledge everybody is valuable. What we do in the university is we teach the unteachables. So I'm not going to read all these, but these are the kind of principles that we look at. And what our founder said is, you can't teach these things. You can't teach common sense. You can't teach perspective or simplicity or observation or perseverance. So what we do is we explore this in conversation. We explore, how does this impact what you do? How do you understand your imagination, your creativity, your possibilities? I'm going to leave you with that thought when you review some of the slides. But the goal is to always search for change, respond to it, and exploit it as an opportunity. So it comes back to vision. What is the vision for your own life? And what is it you would like to do to take that forward? The key point is knowledge, experience, and imagination. Think about that in your own life. This is my founder who is passed now, my husband's father. He started the university in 1972. The key question here is the last one. It says, the Entreprenologist says, what should we be doing? Not what are we doing? How do we do it? What are we doing? But what should we be doing next? I want you to ask that question to yourself in the world. What should we be doing in the world to make a difference? You can take a look at this later. These are our subject matter experts. We have subject matter experts in all these areas, and this is what we lay out to our students. So what we do is we create our own alumni in the university, and these are PhDs, and we call this professional higher doctorate. So my PhD is not an academic PhD. My PhD is a professional higher doctorate in the mindset of entrepreneurology. My special subject matter expertise is in gender dynamics intelligence, value creation, people development. So I want you to separate in your mind the mindset of the education of entrepreneurology and the subject matter expertise, which comes from your knowledge base. Remember, knowledge, experience, and imagination. And these are just a few of the people. What I need to do is to research what's happening in your region of the world and put those on there. And you might notice Tony Fernandez in there. I'm not sure what he's doing now, but at the time we were living in Kuala Lumpur, he was a very well-known entreprenologist in our mind, certainly an entrepreneur. So just to recap now, our PhD is a professional higher doctorate. It's your life success that you're reviewing in your dissertation. It's actually, there is a career assessment profile. You create a living dissertation. You present your accomplishments to the world through this PhD. There is an essential reading and values. And then you become adjunct faculty with our university in order to teach the younger generations. This is our vision for our university, is to encourage and develop young people like the school that I mentioned in Kuala Lumpur. So we will start our Entreprenology program with 10-year-olds, and that will take them through some very basic steps. Do you want to be your own boss? What's your idea? What's your purpose? What's your passion? I keep on going back to this gentleman, but I do love him, not only because he's British, but he really honors people. And I want you to think about your Rotarian nature of really honoring people and really looking at who you are in the world. I wrote this book because I felt driven to change the world through men and women understanding each other and the power of authentic harmony. This lovely gentleman said to me that the book is magical. I do believe that magic is possible when we don't judge each other. So you might not be able to see it, but the byline of the book is magical conversations that change the world, that transform the world. The key there is having conversations without judgment. If one thing you could do from this webinar is to sit and really listen to other people in your club. Ask them, what kind of passion do you have? What do you do that you enjoy most? What makes you feel happy? And be okay with what you hear. I run various programs to help develop this. I run programs around conversations, difficult conversations. How do we have them? How do we increase the capacity of the people around us to work better, happier, more engaged? It makes absolute common sense to not boss people around, even if you are the boss. So I believe that the way forward is leading others to success. And I do have a special program for women I've actually run this very successfully in Malaysia and across the world, and working quite a lot in Africa at the moment. My passion is that men and women really work together and maximize the talents that we've got. So new ways to educate, open your mind to knowledge, experience, and imagination. Understand that when you run an authentic harmony enterprise, you ignite hope in everybody who works with you, and to acknowledge that yourself, if you are a leader of your business, maybe you would like to come and join us with your and have your PhD as part of your credentials. But I'm very open to questions now and to conversation with you. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's very, very fantastic and it's remarkable. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Pauline, before I move to the Q&A session and fellowship session, I will also introduce our district secretary, Rotarian Penny Valencia. Hello, Rotarian Penny. Okay, and you discuss about woman entrepreneur. I will be introduced also woman entrepreneur from Ghana. We have Teresa. Hello, Rotarian Teresa. Can you open the video? Okay. And then okay, for my student, my entrepreneurship student, if you have something want to ask, please raise on hand and you're right. And then I will be put PDG Rudy Balmater, because I see in your screen you ready to
Thank you.
comment.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Andy.
And you're still Manila, right? Still in Philippines.
Yes. And I would like to express my thanks to Dr. Pauline for sharing some of your thoughts about entrepreneurship, or into what we call that. But let me share my observations in Indonesia. Number
in
one,
Indonesia. Okay.
Yeah, in Indonesia, because you put more emphasis on the development of the younger generation, to be involved in this entrepreneurial activity, which you describe with a lot of knowledge, experiences, and also imagination, which I think very useful to develop the opportunities for the younger generation. But I would like to tell you that today Indonesia is the biggest startup city in the world, in this part of Asia. Okay. Many younger Indonesians who finished their schooling are now multimillionaires. Okay. And they avoided this, what we call the problem of our curriculum, where after graduation, you want to be employed in a banks or in other institutions. But many of the young graduates today, Dr. Pauline, are already aiming to be an entrepreneurs. They have what we call the small group discussing how to disrupt the logistics, how to disrupt the normal businesses. And they make a lot of money. And this is now the typical working environment in Indonesia. Number two, we noticed that many women today, particularly the children of the successful businessmen, they are now having trust and confidence to their daughters to run the business. Even in the Philippines, if you name the 10 richest family in the Philippines, the daughters are already running the show. Even in Indonesia, we can see that. So those two observations that you mentioned as emphasis on the younger generation and women are already in place in this part of the world. Yeah. But what I would like to ask you, Dr. Pauline, is you use the word authentic harmony. Okay? But remember, entrepreneurship is characterized as risks, meaning that you have to take the risk. And in taking the risk, sometimes you are saddled with competition and disruption. And this basically creates stress to our entrepreneurs, and to expect that the business environment will be harmony. Sometimes, as the American says, the success of the United States is because competition is liberal-minded, is being encouraged. It depends on how you communicate, isn't it? To be able to get the best. So I don't know how you reconcile this keyword that harmony and the entrepreneurial. So I don't know. Maybe I need your thoughts on this.
I love your observation. One of the things I think, and I would encourage you to read my book. When we hear the word harmony, and remember it says authentic harmony, so this is genuine. In a way, you could relate it to the Rotarian mission to serve with above self. It's not coping with competition and energetic conversations, which are quite spicy and disrupting. So for me, you can still have disruption, but do it in a harmonious way. It's really a baseline value of what is important. Is life important? So we don't have to, in my view, in a harmonious world, we can also choose to be dealing with conflict in a harmonious way. It's not, what I'm trying to say is it's not necessarily just everything being easy peasy. It's actually very vibrant. So if you like, at a vibrational level, the nature of a harmonious company. So if I go back to the example of Sir Richard Branson, as far as I can see, all his Virgin companies, they're very energetic. They still allow lots of questioning and disruption to happen and conversations. And these are very energetic parts of the business. But there is a nature of not being over controlling, allowing even competition to be part of the narrative. So if you ask 100 people, what does harmony mean to you? We get 100 different answers. There's never one answer. So for me, it's the nature of not looking for conflict, but dealing with the world energetically, vibrationally higher. Tesla says, everything is about vibration, frequency, and energy. So for me, an authentic harmony world is not, it's not just sitting around being nice. It's actually being highly energetic about what we want to do and being able to take in lots of diverse perspectives into the conversation. So, for instance, one of my guidelines in the book for having what I call a magical conversation is a conversation without judgment. But that doesn't mean you don't listen to everything that might be different to what you think. So you allow for differences to come into a magical conversation with the idea that you will take on board all those different factors. So I take your point on board, and I think it's very important that we don't see it as an escape into kind of, happy lives. We still need purpose and passion in order to create performance. But the baseline is engaging everybody's differences. That's, for me, is like, if we're looking at different sections of the community, in fact, dealing with what are the conflicts. So what are the conflicts for women? What are the conflicts for older people? What are the conflicts in Indonesia, which are different to Malaysia or USA? It's actually looking at how do we maximize differences and difficulties into the nature of harmony. So just as a final of that, think about it as an orchestra. So you have different instruments in the orchestra, and sometimes as the conductor of the orchestra, you get some instruments misbehaving. The violins maybe are off or the keyboard is, or something's off. And what we're looking at is not saying violins, don't be violins, but we're saying play with the others. So in the world of conflict, in the world of conflict and disruption, we want to bring them together in the best possible way. So another word you could use in there is synergy. It's how do we bring all the parts together to maximize the output? Does that help, PDG?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much,
And I
Dr.
will
Pauline.
send, I'll send you an e-copy of my book and invite
Yeah,
you to
I
read it
think
and give me a review.
in the chat room, there's some ask you how do we get the book, your book, and then I will be read the Vice Pharmacy interested collaboration with your training and program. How do they can collaboration with you? Yeah.
Well, to get in touch with me, either through my websites, Corporate Heart International, I can write it in the chat here, or on my Corporate Heart website, I actually have an e-copy, which is ebook copy, which is downloadable. I'm not sure you can. I'm not sure you have Amazon in Indonesia. Do you?
Yeah. Okay. I have been
I mean,
share your link link.
if you
Yeah.
have, it's available on Amazon, and we're just putting it up on some other platforms, Ingram Sparks and Barnes and Noble. But you can get the ebook version, as I said, on through my website. So Dr. Pauline at corporateheartinternational.com, and also on LinkedIn. Anybody can connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Okay.
I think somebody else has a question.
Yeah. Pamsi. After
Hello.
Pamsi, back
Hi.
to Teresa. Yeah. Okay, Pamsi.
Hi. Sorry,
Please.
I'm not on video.
You okay?
Don't get me wrong.
Introduce your club and your
Yeah.
profile.
Hello, all.
Okay.
My name is Vamshi. I am from Rotary, Bangalore, South Samarpane, 3192 district. And that was a very interesting thought that you had around entrepreneurship, how harmony can be done, and how we can encourage employees to be entrepreneurs, to think, to allow them to think, or rather give them the liberty to think for the development of the organization or a person by himself or herself. My question is, or rather, I wanted to see as a collaborative point. I am going to be the chairman for career counseling and entrepreneurial development for the next year, that is 24-25. I want to see how, from different parts of the Rotary world, we can get people who are in like-minded to see how we can work together. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah. Okay.
I would
okay.
like.
Pauline, Teresa, maybe I'll move to the Ghana. Yeah. Teresa is a woman entrepreneur. She's a property businesswoman. Okay, you can introduce.
I have a story to share.
Yeah.
I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was in school, when I was in secondary school. So I always come top when it comes to commerce. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do in life. But obviously, after school, you don't immediately go into entrepreneurship. So I joined an advertising company. I joined the beer company. I work with the international breweries and the rest. Then I got an early retirement of $15,000. So I invested 10,000 in my house, and I used 5,000 to start my business. And I started with just one bedroom, and I went on and I grew. But it looks like when you are a woman and you want to grow beyond a certain limit, the other forces come into play to distract you. Actually, that's the level that I am now. So you feel as if you're caged, or as if you've been put in a bottle. It's as if the male or some group of people want to silence you because they don't expect you to go. But I have my own dream, and I would like to team up with her and people of like minds so that we see what we can do.
Absolutely. I'd like to make a comment on those two, because is this idea of collaboration and like-minded people. Definitely, if you think about the world in vibrational terms, we vibrate with some people and not with other. And then we have the system that we live in. So the world that we live in, which has created policies and systems and, you know, lack of funding, all those things, that's vibrational as well. So we have to also understand that there will be blocks in our progress, definitely as women. I work in the World Union of Small and Medium Enterprises, and we talk with many countries around the world, and women's issues are always lack of funding, lack of technology, lack of support, lack of this. But we are shifting the ground level. And to go to the point that our previous questioner asked is, when we're looking for like-minded people, they won't all be the same as us. You've got to remember that what we're looking for is a jigsaw puzzle of people coming together. You don't want to be working with people who are totally identical to you, because then you're replicating each other. But you're looking at what are the talents that come together in the mix that will make my idea or our idea work. That is like the instruments in the orchestra. So when you're going into that role and you're looking to, how do we collaborate? There will always be people who are different to you. And to be honest, you will be misunderstood most of the time. It's down to you to tune in to where the connections are. Where's the tuning in? What instrument are you playing and what is the other person playing? And when you hear something that you don't agree with, instead of breaking it and getting angry, actually look at it as, well, this is a very different perspective. And actually, if you get to a point where you can't work with somebody, make sure that you finish it in not by controlling the situation, but by saying, well, that's a very interesting perspective. It's not where I need to be, but thank you. That is getting out of conflict in a harmonious way. Now, there will always be blocks, especially, you know, in certain circumstances economically, but it's going back to that idea of vision, belief, purpose, idea, value. It's down to you. At the end of the day, you're the one who's the boss of your own life, even in difficult times.
Yeah, very, very insightful. Okay, to move to my student, for Indonesian student, anyone to comment? Okay, Hamidu, how about you, Hamidu? Do you wanna comment something, Rotary and Hamidu, Robert, or Rotary and Robert Mayukun? Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
okay.
I appreciate you for this program. It's a very nice program, and I've benefited a lot from the program. In due course too, I'll be looking for collaboration in the area of agriculture and agricultural products, then agricultural equipment and so many others. Currently, I'm still a government worker in Nigeria at Adeyemi Federal University of Education, Ondo. So I'm
What do
looking
you call up?
Adeyemi Federal
Okay.
University of Education, Ondo. So I'm looking forward towards my retirement when I'll be able to fully set up my entrepreneurship company. Once again, I appreciate you for the opportunity to be on the program.
Okay. Maybe
That's
Dr.
good.
Pauline.
I compliment you, and I think we can start an enterprise anytime in our life. And the main thing is to go back to those steps. You know, what is the vision? What's your idea? You know, what's the belief you have around it? Who are the people that you want to, you know? And I think always be broad in your view of your situation. I mean, Africa is a fantastic continent, and every country is so different within Africa. I'm a British woman living in America. America is very different to Britain. What we need to be aware of is circumstances locally and then globally. And I think for me, that's why with our club, Rotary Club of Global Impact, I love it because I get to touch into these different cultures around the world. But the idea of the entreprenologist, so you understand, is that it's really thinking about what the big picture. I see the entrepreneur as the owner manager of a small business in the locality you're in. That's fantastic. When you start seeing a broader picture, then it's that entrepreneurial mindset. But you can have that right the way through, even in anything you do. Remember, what's your knowledge? What do you know? But what do you experience? How do you deal with your experiences? In our PhD program, that's the most important part of it. You know, every amazing entrepreneurologist has had major failures during their life. Steve Jobs famously said, you know, fail fast and fail often, because then you get to the result you want. It's a bit like the guy who invented the light bulb. God, but you know, he tried thousands of times to get something right. So if you really have passion and purpose, you will keep going. And it will have days when you get down days and you think, oh my God, you know, I get those. But the main thing is remembering everything starts with you. So that cycle of you being the boss of your own life is where it starts. Who are the people that you're in? How do you build the relationships? Do you tune into them? If you don't tune into them, then let them go. Look at the end result, but don't let the end result control your beingness, because if you only look for money, you won't have the passion and the purpose. When you have the passion and purpose and people feel that, then the revenue will flow. That's my belief. I'll be interested if you think the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
very
I
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the
Hamidu?
topic.
Yeah. Do you
I
want
want
to
to say
comment?
thank you very much for the topic, Dr. Pauline.
Okay. Yeah.
I understand,
Okay.
and this is the first time I hear PhD defined the way you defined it, because PhD most of the time what we know is the university definition. You know, I am from Africa, living in Canada, and working in the banking system. You know, the banking system, what we put forward today is performance, not the human being. You know, people don't care about the human being. What they want is what you can bring to the organization, what you can bring to the organization's performance, whatever you can, whatever you pay for it. I mean, you can pay your health, you can pay whatever physically, but the bank has to perform. But bringing the human being into the business is something very important. And there's a guy who had a question. Mr. Chena had a question, and Teresa from Ghana. I understand what you talked about because I'm from Africa, and I also know women in Africa wanting to be in business. Thank you very much for your questions, for
Yeah.
the presentation.
For
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
just a comment that, you know, the bankings are very, like most big corporations have become so big, they can ignore the people side. So that's why I set up Corporate Heart originally in England, because I said there should be a heart to business. Everybody is a body. You know, you come into work not just with your expertise, you come in with your feelings and your emotions and your down days and your up days. And you might be a great statistician or a mathematician or a linguist, but your ability to deliver that is what makes you special. So that X factor, I believe everybody needs to go back to what is your natural gift that you were born with, that you never learned at school and your parents didn't tell you, you just did it. And the way you find that out is ask your best friend, what do I do so well that you would always know me? Because you sometimes don't know what your natural gift is.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We can give applause and give a thumb in the chat. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Pauline, I think we have 1 hour. Now we the end of session. And
Yes.
so say many thank you very much for your share your knowledge and sharing with us. Yeah, I'm very happy, and I think it's remarkable. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, all of you from all the Rotary
Yeah.
clubs that you represent. I
Okay.
really appreciate you. And let's go out and change the world.
Yeah. chance to.
Thank you
If
very
you're
much.
interested to contact Dr. Pauline, you can read in the chat room. I have shared the link link of three, Dr. Pauline Crawfrod, and you can directly send messages to Dr. Pauline's right, and for
And
anyone beyond
Andy,
collaboration. Yeah.
you can
Okay.
share the slides with everybody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Will
just
be
added her
shared.
on LinkedIn
Yeah.
also.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Okay. For us, thank you very much for your join with us for this today moment. We can see you for the next program. And okay, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
stay healthy. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pauline, PDG, Rudy,
Thank you.
my senior
Thank you.
leaders, Hamidu, Lieutenant Robert,
Thanks.
Teresia. Thank you.